Good day, Kingston, and welcome to our first episode. My name is Joshua Warren, and I'm a member of Kingston's Board of Selectmen. I'd like to introduce you to new television programming that we'll be filming each month here at PAC TV. As you may have guessed, the show is called Good Day Kingston, and it's a chance for us to go straight to the source and hear from the many dedicated employees, volunteers, and residents whose exceptional efforts make Kingston an exceptional town. Our goal is to make each episode as entertaining and educational as possible. As things get going, we'll start to have brief how-to segments: how to register to vote, how to apply for a dog license, how to file for an abatement. So if you've ever wondered how to pull a permit to install a wood stove in your kitchen, let us know and we'll try to include it in an upcoming episode. In the coming months, we'll be hearing from educators, public safety officers, elected and appointed members of our local government, but again, we also want to hear from you, because it's not Kingston without you. If you have an idea for a future episode or would like to know how to get that wood stove permitted for your kitchen, please send us an email at josh02364@gmail.com, and we'll go straight to the source here on Good Day Kingston. So today is the first episode of Good Day Kingston, and we have with us Sue Woodworth, Kingston's Recreation Director. Sue, thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Before we jump into things, I just wanted to learn a little bit more about you and what brought you to Kingston. So how long have you been working in the town of Kingston?
Sure. I'll be starting my 20th year this October. So I've been working for the town for quite a long time. I've been living in Kingston for almost 27 years. So I moved to Kingston just before I got married, and so it's been a little while.
Now, what drew you to Kingston?
I grew up in Marshfield, so not too far from home, and it's just always been a great community. It was a smaller community at the time when we moved in, I think about 7,000 residents, and it was a good fit for us when we were thinking about having a family and raising our kids there.
That's great. Now, I don't know how many folks know this, but you have a unique sign-off in your email. It's believe in yourself, in each other, and in our children. Now, seeing the outpour of support that the community has given you for the recreation programs, youth in town, the recreation spaces, I assume that this is a daily mantra, but can you tell us what this philosophy looks like in practice? Sure.
It's each summer for our summer program, I have a different slogan or kind of a mantra that we try to aspire to, and that was one particularly a few years ago. The word believe is an impactful word for me, and I think it's important that we start with ourselves, and then it's very important for us to reach out to our children, and then also to come together back as a community and support each other. So it meant a lot to me that particular summer using that particular slogan. It's something that I just want to remind myself of, and hopefully other people will notice it as well.
Now, is this something that you see with campers and with staff as well, sort of reciprocating that daily philosophy?
Absolutely. So this year, for example, it was us for them. So for us, for this year, it was again kind of a coming together, if you will. So it was us, meaning kind of the leadership group that we have, and then the staff, and then also the families. And just as a reminder that we're all in this together, and we're all going to work together to get what we need to get done and support each other mostly.
Great. Now, any beach-going residents and any town meeting-going residents know that there's been a lot of changes at Grays Beach. Can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Sure. So the Grays Beach project has been something that's been ongoing for this particular portion of the project for the last several years. We had quite a large storm, I think it was probably maybe 4 years ago, and unfortunately in that winter storm there did some serious damage to the stone revetment walls down there at Grays Beach. And at that time we had reached out to the FEMA Emergency Management, federal, as well as Massachusetts, and unfortunately there were just other communities that had more severe activity and damage than we did, and we weren't able to receive any money. So that wall's been failing for many years now, and it's been something that's been a little bit more of a safety issue and a hazard, and very concerned about that. So probably a couple of years ago, we started looking at it, evaluating it from a different perspective, and trying to figure out what options do we have as a community, and to try to fix this particular area. And that's when we started working with some of our local organizations and some of our previous engineers on what might be some options down there.
Great. So it seems like what started as an effort to sort of preserve everything that's inland from the beach from the storms has also turned into a beautiful, expansive recreation area. I mean, it's significantly larger than it was prior to the work, correct?
Correct. One of the great things about this particular project, as you mentioned, it did start out more as a kind of a repair of that revetment wall. When we were starting to do some research, and we were also looking at funding opportunities, there were quite a few grants that were available that wanted some more site improvements. They didn't want you just to do the fixing of the wall. They wanted to have more site improvements, some other opportunities. So one of the things we started looking at is what might be some different options we can have down here, and that's kind of how we came out to this particular project. The revetment wall idea of the removal of that actually came about through one of the grant opportunities, which is to create a living shoreline and actually remove the revetment wall, which a lot of communities are starting to do now, to go more to that natural habitat of that particular situation.
So for someone who isn't an engineer and hasn't been involved in the meetings, what is a living shoreline?
So the living shoreline, I will give you as much information as I can. I'm not an engineer as well either, but the living shoreline concept is really an opportunity to, again, remove the revetment areas in those particular situations and create that natural marsh area. So if you look to the side of Grays Beach Park, there's a natural marsh that's already exists there. And so what we wanted to do is kind of assimilate that and then create that buffer from the tide so that it wouldn't continue to have any disrepair on the beach or the property upslope. So we built actually a living shoreline on either side of the particular part of the beach area of Grays Beach Park, which allowed us the opportunity to remove both of the revetment walls and, as you mentioned, expand that beach quite significantly for beachgoers.
I've been incredibly impressed. I think we were just saying prior to the show that on a Sunday afternoon at high tide, it's just packed. I mean, it's you have a hard time finding a place to pitch your blanket and set up a beach chair. It's fantastic to see that expanded space and residents utilizing it this early in the project. It's still underway, correct? There's still a lot going on?
Correct. So basically what we wanted to do, our biggest goal, we really were trying to get the whole project complete before the summer season started. We had some glitches in some of the bidding process and some delays and challenges with that, with financing, and my goal has always been to try to continue to get the project done with the budget that we were allocated. And so unfortunately, with some bids that came in quite a bit too high with regard to the building concept, we had to kind of take a step back and reevaluate and see what other opportunities we might have to be able to continue to finish this project the way that we needed to. We also were on a little bit of a timeline with some of our grant requirements. One of them, we had a deadline of June 30th, so quite a large portion of the project needed to be complete by that time. So that was really our goal, and then to be able to try to open up the beach for this season. And then we will be continuing on with the remainder of the project. We have some items that will be continued to be completed as the fall comes into play, and then also the bathhouse building will also be constructed during that time. So there are a few other things that are coming forward, which is exciting.
Great. And I mean, some of the outside-the-box thinking and adaptations, the addition of the food trucks has been great. I don't know if you've been able to sneak down there for lunch or dinner, but when the trucks are there, it's so nice to get a bite to eat and to have refreshments available right there.
I agree, and I think one of the things too with the food trucks, we really try to enhance on that next year. We were a little bit limited in the time frame this year when the beach actually did open. Many of the food trucks already had their location set up for the season, so we weren't able to get as many as we hope to do next year. And we'll work with we have a couple local vendors in our own community. Mangia Food Truck has been down there on Wednesday nights. That's a Kingston resident, so it's great to have them there supporting the property, as well as to have them have an opportunity to run their business there. And we hope to do that with some of the ice cream trucks that are local and some of the other food trucks. We love the food truck concept because it provides more diversity and opportunity for different kinds of food for people, and to have them come at different days and different times. And I think that will be, a big success moving forward.
Great. And sort of unrelated to the, I guess, the overall project, there's a little free library there as well. That's a new addition.
That is a new addition. That's great. We have 7 of those actually around town now. So that was a project that was started by a group that we actually coined the name Kingston Community Fund. It's in collaboration between the Recreation Department, the Kingston Public Library, the Council on Aging, and we also work with the event coordinator for the Adams Center building. And it was just one of those joint projects. Also the Facilities Department, our Streets, Trees and Parks, and Conservation actually were also involved in those libraries were actually built by the Silver Lake Regional High School Carpentry Program, so we got to bring them into the project as well. So that was a great concept. And then we had a contest where a lot of the residents were able to put in a raffle and be interested in actually decorating them. So the one at Grays Beach Park has a certain theme and a certain decorative on it. There's one at the Reed Community Building that has a different one. A family decorated that one. So it really was a great combination for a community project. And there's one, let's see if I can remember all the other locations. There's one at the townhouse. The Kingston Elementary Intermediate School created one, which was fabulous through their art program. There's one at the Adina and one at Sampson Park, I believe. So they're all over town, and that they've been a great addition. And one in front of the police station as well.
Yes, yeah, I think I drove by that one on the way here today. I didn't mean to pull us away from Grays Beach, but it seems like a natural segue. So the program that you just mentioned, can you remind me of the name?
Sure, Kingston Community Fund. Kingston
Community Fund. Now that's also an effort within the rec department to boost and promote some intergenerational programs.
Correct, correct. One of my goals for a long time is how can we work a little bit more efficiently and productively with the resources that we already have in our community. The library runs a lot of programs, the Council on Aging runs a lot of programs, we run programs. Sometimes we overlap and offer similar types of programs, and so one of my goals has always been how can we work a little bit more collaboratively with the resources that we have in our community and in our organization for the town of Kingston. And so probably about a year and a half ago, we finally kind of got together with those 4 departments, and we meet once a month and we talk about joint programs, the multi-generational. We've done some field trips where some of the grandparents have taken their kids to the Museum of Science. They did a corn maze one year. We've done some programs where we've had entertainers come in. And we meet at all the different locations. Sometimes we'll do it at the Council on Aging, which is great. So some of the younger families get to see what the Council on Aging is all about. And sometimes we'll do programs at the Reed Community Building, which is fantastic as well. So some of the seniors might be able to come over to that building. So my goal has always been to really work collaboratively with everybody. And again, I think there are so many resources out there that we can benefit from by all working together.
And I don't know how many residents know about this push for intergenerational programs. I also don't know how many are aware that the rec department runs adult programs in addition to the youth programming. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the adult programming options that exist and what's coming up in the coming months?
Sure. So we run programs from September through pretty much June for preschool, infants, actually all the way through adults. In the summertime, the majority is for the younger kids, just it's such a larger program. But throughout the year for the adults, we run a program called Pickleball. They play that down at Grays Beach Park, also at the Reed Community Building in the wintertime. We have yoga classes. We've done adult computer classes. We have a co-ed men's basketball program that is held down at Opachinski. We have a co-ed volleyball program that's held at the Kingston Intermediate School Gymnasium. So there's a lot of different programming and activities for adults as well, which is great. We're always looking for new instructors and new ideas, so if anybody is interested in giving us information or giving us a call, it's always great to get that new support.
Great. Now, I've actually watched some folks play pickleball, but I don't know how many people at home know what pickleball is. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can tell you a little bit about it. I played a couple of times when we first started. We didn't have that many participants, probably about 6 per week. We were wondering if it was actually going to kick off, and it was a great program that was actually started by one of our summer staff. He continued on with us in the fall one year and said he wanted to bring a pickleball program to the recreation department. I had never heard of it before. He played it in high school gym, and it's pretty big down south. I think they have huge tournaments, huge competitions down there, and a lot of pickleball courts. So it's kind of the way I describe it, and it may not be 100% accurate, but it's kind of a combination of like a smaller racket, like a racquetball racket, and it looks like a wiffle ball is a type of ball, and they play 2-on-2, and it's quite competitive. And right now, we've been doing it for, I think we're going into our maybe 3rd season, and we have probably over 80 participants that play. They play 3 or 4 days a week, and we also have an evening program as well.
The folks who I've talked to that play like it because it's like tennis, but with less running because of the size of the court being so small?
Correct. Correct.
Now, is that a program that you see, different generations going for? Is there a certain population that's leaning more towards pickleball?
It is more of an adult population right now. I think the younger population, this young man who actually helped us get it started, he wanted to start when he's in his mid-20s. He actually had wanted to start a pickleball league for the younger generation. The problem right now is just space availability. So in the off-season, from the fall through the winter, it's held inside at the Reed Community Building, so it's limited space there. And then we run all of our other programs. But you never know, maybe someday in the future we'll get a grant for a pickleball court.
Yeah. Now, there's some other programs that are coming up this fall. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. So we have our annual On Your Toes Miss Tracy dance program. That's a program that runs from September through May and June. She also does an acrobatics type program. So it's for young boys and girls that run that program. She culminates it in May with a fabulous dance recital. So that's a great program as well. We also work with some of our teachers from the elementary and intermediate school with some art programs. Some technology programs we've been working with, some great things there. We're also doing some language programs, a German program coming up. So some of our fall program is on our website, which is kingstonrec.com right now, and we'll be adding some more programs within the next month or so.
And if somebody wanted to get involved either as a participant or an instructor, is that also where they'd go to get more information or to contact you?
Absolutely. They can always call the recreation department, but they can always check out the website as well for more information.
Great. And I know I was at this past movie night, which was fantastic. The rec department showed The Jungle Book. I was there with my 3-year-old and my wife, and everybody had a great time. There's another movie night coming up in September, correct?
Correct. So we just scheduled another one, September 15th. We're going to be playing Ghostbusters, the older version of Ghostbusters. So that will be fun for everybody as well.
So that's the original, the Dan
Correct.
Aykroyd and Bill Murray?
Absolutely, yes.
That's great. And what's next, I guess, for how you see, because that's at Grays Beach, what's next for how you see Grays Beach being utilized by the community now that we have a stage and we have this increased, square footage on the beach? What do you see as being the future of Grays Beach and the future uses of Grays Beach?
Sure, I really hope to get more programs down there. We've started a backyard flag football program, but with the stage opportunity, we've also run musical theater programs throughout the year. It would be great to have a musical theater production down there. I think it's a beautiful location for that. Some yoga classes we've done on site down there, so I think the stage is a good opportunity for that. I think about story time in the park, because I know a lot of communities will do that. They'll work with their library and they'll have a story time there, so I can see that as a great venue for things like that. More concert series. We received a great generous donation from Ann Guba, who passed away about a year or so ago, and she donated some money to the town, both to the high school music program as well as just to the general town, and she wanted to have some additional music opportunities down there at Grays Beach Park. So.
And I think the Kingston Business Association benefited from that grant this past year for the Waterfront Festival. They didn't go for it this year and instead sought funding from the Sampson Fund. But the Kingston Business Association made great use of the stage at this year's Waterfront Fest and actually had, I think there were probably a dozen Silver Lake students who performed on stage and then a reggae band. And it was just, it was great to see the stage being used for that reason, and it's nice to know that that's sort of where your vision is taking us as well.
Right, and some of those students, you mentioned that too, we also have a Joy of Music program. So many years ago, unfortunately, the music program was cut from the school system at the younger level, and a Joy of Music program was created that is run through the recreation department, and many of those students from the Silver Lake High School actually started in our Joy of Music program, and they actually gave back this year and worked with our current music director and went to the kids and helped mentor in some of the kids' programs. So it's a great, again, effort kind of going all the way full circle.
Well, it sounds like you keep busy, so I can't thank you enough for pulling yourself away to come and speak with us today. I hope that for some of the folks at home who haven't visited Grays Beach, this inspires them to grab their favorite book and a beach chair and head on down. And I hope that others who are watching will go to the website and see what programs may appeal to them or what programs they may like to partner with the rec to offer to residents.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much for having me. And, it's always a great opportunity to provide information to our community and our residents. And we always have the opportunity for people to give us a call and have conversations, set up meetings anytime anybody wants some additional information. Some other site amenities that are going to be happening down there is there'll be some benches. So as you mentioned, to grab a book maybe from the little free library, there'll be some benches that will be furnished and installed recently. So it will be an exciting opportunity down there.
You don't even have to bring a book from home. It's one stop.
Exactly.
Everything's there.
Exactly.
Great. Well, thank you again, Sue.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.